Queen of Family? Welcome to Black Queens Uncut. Grab your wine, your vapes, or whatever you need to relax so we can get into this Queen chat. I'm Monique Loveless. Queens, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Kiki Boom Boom.
Que pasa? It's TK Trinidad.
And today we are talking about what needs to be talked about when we sitting at the table with our girls having brunch, lunch, dinner, drinks, whatever, and we talking about work. Majority of the time, we are talking about code switching and having to deal with that fuck shit. Okay. So I felt like this was a topic that really needed to be touched on because we know in our community, as the Black community, that we do have to do a lot of code switching when it comes to being in a professional setting or just anything above. I mean, to this point, we even have a Crown Act law, which is a law that tells us that we can wear our natural hair at a job. So, this is something that I feel like could be a two-part thing, but we're definitely going to get into it today and try to get into it as much in depth as we can. Ladies, what to you is code switching? And do you feel like everybody does it, or are we as the Black community have to do it?
I think everyone definitely code switches. Everyone who's not white code switches. I think code switching is a thing where you are someone of color, and we're Black, so we speak from our experience. But I think a lot of people of color have to do it where you don't have to do it, but you do it where it's this thing where you're at work and it's embedded in your head that you have to act and talk a certain way to make white people feel more comfortable, whether it's work, whether you're outside, whether you're walking behind a white person, child, and you're like, damn, should I cross the street? Whether you feel like you and your friends are too loud because you feel like the white people next to you are feeling uncomfortable. It's like, I feel like it's a thing where you try to make white people feel as comfortable as possible. And I feel like it's been embedded in our minds since the beginning of time. Not the beginning of time for Black folks, but since slavery, where we were told that we had to be a certain way. And I think it's been passed down. And I think every person who is not white, they do a code switching thing because they feel like white people are going to be offended on how I talk, or a lot of people of color switch what their real names are. They come over here. A lot of Asian people switch what their birth names are because they want to make white people feel comfortable. A lot of African people switch what their real names are to make white people feel comfortable. So I think it's just a thing where a lot of people do or did or was in their mind when we didn't want to make white folks feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's okay, but that's what code switching, is.
It's a combination sometimes. Like I feel like somebody who has a long name, I just got tired of, I'm just lazy. I really don't want to explain to you how to pronounce it. I really just don't want to talk about the spelling. And, I know some people who keep their name and they force, not force, but it's like, no, this is my name. I just don't want to do that. But yeah, it just depends on the workplace. Sometimes in the workplace you can, it's just more of, everybody's on this level and we're all going to speak this language, which happens to be the white language, because now everybody can understand. Because Lord knows if I went off and spoke like Niche, my business partner and I do it all the time. When we're talking, we're talking, patois, or we're talking a version of, and sometimes people don't understand. And now we have to break it down. It's like, that's just sometimes for me, it's more like time saving. But on the flip side, on the negative side, there is times where, I've felt, and I'm sure a lot of people have felt, where you have to code switch in order to, gain whatever, the man is gonna, whatever scraps he's gonna try to give you. So yeah, I think there's two sides to it, and definitely getting rid of the negative side and having people understand that there's more to it than just, the layman's English and the white version of stuff is important.
Right. I looked this up. So the true definition of code switching is actually language. When you know multiple languages and you have to switch languages in order to adapt to somebody else's, language. Now they have evolved and said, because of what we go through in our community, it has evolved into having to switch your language and cultural behaviors, which is what we just talked about, which would technically be true. Now, I think everybody code switches, even white people. Like when you see these white people who everybody be like, oh, they trying to act black in our code, like that's code switching. I don't feel like when it comes, we do. And I saw this teacher on Facebook and I thought she was really right about it. We do in the African American, the Black American community, we have our own language. And you might want to call it slang, you might want to call it ebonics, whatever you want to call it, we understand each other. If you've never seen the movie ATL and when old dude is talking and they're like, what the fuck is he saying? But they like decoded it. That's our language. We have a language. And if you are trying to speak our language and we like, what? Like that is still the same thing that if you go and you learn a specific French or Spanish other language, it's still the same thing because you're trying to learn our slang, our language, our ebonics, whatever you want to call it. But I definitely feel like I want to speak to our community specifically because we are Black. I don't really know anybody else's experience. I feel like I can view it on the out. Well, I do. I don't know anybody else's experience. I feel like on the outside, but I do believe that with code switching, we know it as mostly for work. Like if I have to work or if I really want this job, no matter what industry it is, it seems like we always have to go in and be somebody that we don't really connect with, or like we're like I know I have to do. So it starts feeling like a duty and not fun. It starts feeling like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I gotta do this, and it pulls so much from you because you're just not able to even be yourself in order to get the opportunities that you know you fucking deserve. Let's be honest. So as far as when it comes to code switching, that's kind of how I feel like it is. And I feel like everybody does it. But I definitely feel like as a community, we speak to it the probably the most because we are in a world where our culture is taken but not accepted. We're not accepted as a people. So when it comes to code switching, do you feel like it is learned or is it something that just happens?
For me, it's something that just happens. Like, it's like hilarious. Like I'll go, especially at this like West Indian events, like it's automatic that like I code switch or I translate or I go back to how we talk in Canada, and I could fully understand what they're saying, and it just goes back and forth, and there's just it's a certain dialect. But then automatically, and I see this all the time, just more with the West Indian community, automatically if an American comes into the room, it's like, all right, we're gonna speak, Black American or whatever. So for me, but if you were to like put a gun to my head and say, well, I want you to speak like this, it's not gonna happen. I know people who can, like, my business partner, Nisha, she's an actress. She can do it on a drop of a head. For me, it just doesn't happen. For me, it's just like whoever's around me and they know the dialect, that's what I go to automatically. But if it's like more Americans, then, however, if you get me tipsy, then it's a whole nother, then you're going to hear slang and dialect that you're like, wait, what? I thought you was. So for me, it's just very automatic. It just, I just acclimate to whoever's in the room. That includes white people too. I'll bring out my British English real quick on them. So
I think it's both. Like I think it could be taught or something that just happens.
Because I was laughing because you do always say rubbish, and I look like, what's rubbish? And you're like the trash, and I'm like, oh, okay.
That's rubbish, mate.
Like because it comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, what? Like that's why I started laughing because she like you do, and I'll be like, there's some words I'll be like, huh? Like why you just didn't say trash? Like my language.
And then TK is also Canadian, so
yeah. But it's funny when she does it because I'll be looking like, huh? Like it has to register to me in order to be like, okay, this is what she's talking about.
I would say I think it could be both. Like I think it could be taught, and I think it's something that happens naturally. Like being taught is, since the beginning of time, I think for Black families, it's something where, especially in the old days, black grandparents, black parents would be like, oh, when you go here, make sure you do X, Y, and Z, because you know white people on. And it's something that unfortunately was learned from like since slavery, and it was passed down. Or make sure you do this because you know white people gonna be looking at you. And it's like, okay. And that's why for me, code switching became a thing, making white people more comfortable. And then when things happen naturally, like I remember when I was little, my name is Nakia, Nakia. It's really simple. But I remember being younger and people couldn't say it. So I would be like, you could just call me Nikki. Like, so stupid. My name's not Nicole, but I would be like, it's fine. Just call me like whatever's easier for you. Then I got older and I was like, absolutely not. You're going to call me Nakia. But that's something that wasn't taught. That was just, I was uncomfortable and I didn't want to make them uncomfortable. And it was just weird thing that triggered. And I was like, no, it's fine. You can just call me Kia, Nakia, whatever's easier for you. And I noticed that I was doing that a lot. So I think it's something that's been taught to a lot of us, Black people, where, you know, your family, you know, when you do this, make sure you sit up straight. Or when a white person comes around, when you're at work, make sure we got to be on time. We got to be smarter than them. That's the shit that was always been taught to us. So I think that part of code switching has been taught. And I think a lot of times it's natural for us when we're in a setting where we're like, you're speaking to someone who's not Black and you're like, oh, and they don't understand the AAVE. And you're like, oh, let me just switch it up. And sometimes I know for me, as I'm getting older, I'm working on like, no, how about making me comfortable? Like, so that's something that I've been working on, but it's natural. We all do it. We all code switch. But I do think now in 2021, millennials, we're very fortunate because we come from in Gen Z, a generation where now people are putting it out there. We have Twitter, people are writing articles. We have posts on Instagram when now something you may not know you were doing, you're like, wait, I've been doing this my whole life. And some Black person, I say this about Black people, whether we're West Indian, American, we're Afro-Latina, Black people in general, it's like we all were raised weirdly the same way. And we all, though we're all different, it's like I'll see someone Black say something, I'm like, damn, same. So I think as a millennial and Gen Z, we're fortunate because now people are speaking about code switching now.
Right.
Where before people were doing it and you're like, damn, that's what it's called. And I have a community of people who have had to do it too and are still doing it.
Right. I think social media helps out so much as far as like bringing to the forefront what we've been going through behind the scenes for years, like centuries. Let's just keep it real. But I have a French name, Monique, easy. Nobody when I was growing up, because now everybody's a Monique. Oh, that's my middle name. So I say I'm Monique. Okay. But when I was growing up, teachers could not say my name. They always said Monica. But from my grandmother, she was like, no, that's not cute. They call you by your name. We named you, and that's what they call you. So I used to correct everybody. It was so annoying. Like, Kiki, I would honestly be like, if I had like a nickname, that's why I just tell everybody, call me Mo now. Mo. If I had like a nickname, I probably would have just said, call me this. But in school, I had to always tell my teachers, no, that's not my name. So there was one point, I think I was like in first, second grade, I had the same teacher and she was British, she was English. And she used to always call me Monica. And my mom really liked her as a teacher, but that was something that she kept saying, why do you keep calling her Monica? That's not her name. And so I told her, like, eventually I told her, like, I'm going to stop answering you if you keep calling me Monica because I have to correct you every time. Like, she said Monica. I'm like, no, it's Monique.
Monica's not here.
So I'm like, who are you? At this point, I'm like, who are you calling on? Because it ain't me. And so it is a thing. Like, and sometimes I think it's just like be aware of shit like that. You can learn somebody else of a different culture's name, but you can't.
It's just laziness. You can say Bartholomew, and you can say you can say everybody else's names, and I think it's just laziness. I think.
Yeah, you can say Phoebe with a PH. That doesn't equal.
I went to school with a girl. I will say I went to high school. Shout out to Siobhan with a girl named Siobhan, white Irish girl, but her parents spelled it like Shiabon, so it doesn't look like Siobhan. So in school they would be like Shiabon, and she's like, it's Siobhan, but it's spelled the Irish way. So like, but she would correct them. Where me, I felt like as a little Black girl, I'd be like, you can call me Nikki. And my name, Nikki is not a thing.
Right.
I wanted them to be comfortable, and that, that was my bad when I was little. And as I got older, it was like, no, it's Nakia.
Right.
Even like this morning, I went to Starbucks, and no, sorry, last night I went to Shake Shack. Horrible plug. I'm ashamed of myself, but whatever. I had a burger, and he's like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, Nakia. And I know when I say it, it sounds like Nikia, but it's Nakia. So he's like N-I-C-K. I'm like, no, N-A-K-I-A. He's like, so N-I-C. I'm like, N-A-K-I-A. He's like, oh, like Nokia phone. I'm like, yes, but with
I hate when people do that.
I hate that, but
I hate when they do a comparison.
Yes, my whole life it was like the phone. I'm like, yep, cool.
Yeah,
so
that's precisely why. I mean, shout out to my dad. All three of my names are African, and when you say them all three together, it means a sentence. So shout out to him for being very ambitious and kind of putting that name on me. But it's come to the point now. What part of me wanted to go back to just using my full name, but now it's come to a part where it's just like, no, I'm not gonna. It's laziness on both parts. It's like, I already entrust you as human beings, particularly in America, that you're going to be lazy. And I am also too lazy because I don't want to go through it. Like when I went to University of Oregon, they told me I had two choices. And this is how TK came about. They're like, we can either call you Toronto or we can call you TK. And at this point, I was just like, you know what?
The option of Toronto and TK.
Yes, right.
Right.
Yeah, at this point, it was just kind of like, and this is after running track and announcers butchering my name every single time. And I was running at track meets twice a week. And it was just like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to. And then also being announcer myself, like I get anxiety now when I look at names, especially like Hispanic names, because culturally it's like you're used to seeing certain names like, okay, I see that. But then you look at Hispanic names, or that's not even doing to German names. And I'm the announcer for CrossFit events and track events. And I'm looking at these names like, I don't know how to phonetically do this. And I don't have the time to look at it. So if I have time, I'll go to people and ask them. But, on the flip side, it's just like, sometimes people are lazy. I appreciate the folks who do take the time and ask, but then some people are lazy. But then also that name comparison. Oh, it's like this. Like, no, it's just my name.
My whole life. So it's like the phone, right? The phone.
Like,
sure.
Well, I get Monique, like people, a lot of people spell it Monic, like mine.
Who are these people and where do they go to school? Because I'm concerned.
Like there's a whole comedian that everybody knows. At least give me an apostrophe, even though it's not an apostrophe. Like,
yeah, the comedian. I feel like movies, there were women, like exotic women named Monique. You just, I don't know where the C comes from. There's a Q.
Or people will ask me, "Oh, do you spell it like the normal way?" And I'm like,
the normal way.
What other way do you spell Monique?
Shout out, and that's why I say shout out to like the babies now, because you have Sha'Carri Richardson. We have the same last name, the track baby, who had to let people know. Killing it. Our girl here is killing it. That baby's only 21, 22 years old. And I love her confidence. She has BDE, and that was one of our past episodes.
Yes.
But she says, oh, and my name is Sha'Carri. It's not Sha'Carri. It's not like, it's Sha'Carri. And that gave me goosebumps when I seen her say that. Because I was like, yo, how amazing for this young lady who's already being judged for what she looks like, her nails, her hair, and people don't even know the history of like the beautiful Black women who came before her with the Flojos and the women who look like that. So not only does she have to go through that, but her name, I'm like, you will not butcher this baby's name when she goes to Tokyo. So I loved seeing her say, it's Sha'Carri. So like,
and she is dominating. That's another thing too, is that we've had to code switch on everything from having straight hair. We literally were messing up our natural hair with relaxers every 6 weeks because we had to have straight hair in order to. I saw this one girl and I thought it was dope. She said, I go to every interview with my curly hair just to make sure that they're hiring me.
Yep.
And I was like, yo, that's dope. If I ever had to go back into the workforce, that's definitely something that I know that I'm going to do, because it's been mentioned too. Like I'll do an interview and they'll be like, oh, your hair looks nice pulled back. It looks better pulled back. And I'm like, yo, but I have a beautiful head of hair. Like,
it's very interesting.
What are you talking about?
Especially like our community when we do it to each other, because you guys know, before I shave my head, I wear braids. I wear nothing but braids. So when I got to LA, like I remember other black girls would be like, "Oh, girl, you wearing braids? Like, are you sure you want to wear braids?" One of my ex-friend of mine, we used to work together, and she used to be like, "Girl, you got braids on at the office?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it got what?" But then I had to think like, "Yo, that's just how we've been conditioned. Where like the Crown Act just had to come to pass, where we couldn't wear beautiful faux locks, beautiful natural hair like you two ladies have, braids." I went to a red carpet. Somebody was like, "Girl, you got braids on?" I was like, "Yes." But that's just how it always been for black women. And it's so unfortunate. But now we're seeing black women and hosts and news anchors stepping into it. Like I've done carpets where actors would be like, "Girl, I love your braids." Or I remember one time I was interviewing Storm. She had braids and I had braids. And she was like, "Yes," like someone who looks like me on the carpet. But it is unfortunate that black women, that in 2020, the Crown Act was just passed. Like that's ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And then there's some states who are not even acknowledging it.
Well, I think it's only in 7 states.
Like, come on.
It has technically only passed in 7 states. And the fact that we have to have a law to wear our natural hair. I mean,
yeah, or boys with dreads. You know what I'm saying? Boys who have locks, they can't wear them in certain states. It blows my mind that black people, we have to go through this. And now we have like only 7 states are acknowledging like this is who we are. This is our hair.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, but it also speaks to like, for me, I'm always kind of sitting on the fence with this, right? Because it also speaks to it. Now we have to be subjected to somebody not hiring us because of the way we look. That means we all as a community have to step our shit up and create businesses where we hire people that look like us. And it's not an issue. It's like, oh yeah, I know Jerome. Like I used to be Jerome. Like I get it. Because like, it's one of those things where it's like, yes, we can demand this, but you know, it's like, where are the companies that we own where it's not going to be a problem? And so like I feel like we're in such a place where now we can talk about it, but it's also it should be forcing all of us to step our shit up and start owning companies and start hiring people. Not necessarily like, okay, well, you're black, you can work here, but like understanding like, all right, she has locks, no worries, can you do the job? That's the important thing. And then when your company starts improving because you're hiring people for their quality, not the way they look, and now you're doing better than that white company that didn't want to hire these people, then that's where things are going to start shifting. So it's like, I feel like sometimes it's a double-edged sword where it's just like, yeah, like I don't want to be judged by the way my hair is or how I speak. But on the other side, it's like, I need to create my own shit and I'm going to hire people that look like me as well.
And I agree with what you said, and I'm gonna add to it as well. That's when you start having these conversations because it's like, oh, okay, I didn't get hired for my hair. Let me go to the media. Let me talk about it. Like those people who did when their house was appraised as a black person and it was actually $500 or to $1 million more when it was appraised by their white friend. You start going to us about it. You start coming to the media about it. You start talking up for other people because, you know, we've been taught to be scared. But now that we have the opportunity to really exercise our speech, our freedom of speech, then it's time to start doing that. There's been times where I've left companies or I've seen certain things in companies. And even if I feel like it's going to put my job at a detriment, I don't care because at the end of the day, you need to be educated. And there's so many jobs out there. I'll go get another one. Trust and believe I'm blessed and highly favored. And my mindset is that I ain't about to be down for long. Matter of fact, you probably just did me a service and getting me to a different company because we still need our black people. And me and my best friend was talking about this. We still need our voices at these tables. As much as we talk about entrepreneurship, we need to talk about executiveship too. We need to be at these tables. We don't have enough people in media. We just now getting White House correspondents that are black into the actual rooms. And that's like maybe what, 1 or 2. And who knows what outlets they're really bringing in. Because you got a black person coming in from Fox News. We know we ain't going to get the same respect. But we don't have enough we don't have enough media outlets that are owned by black people. We don't have enough executives sitting at the table to say, you know what, you shouldn't have done that. Or you want to bring in people late because you want to look at their skin color or their hair or say certain things about them behind their back, but want to bring us in late because, you know, we create and move culture. So it's about speaking up as well. Like, okay, you feel this way. Okay, let me write the CEO a great email, because I've done that before to a very huge company. And it has changed some of their policies as well, because they're not even seeing it from our point of view. They don't even have nobody around them that can be like, okay, let's get this point of view so that we're able to skew that, because now I can see myself being what people are talking about as racist, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's feeling superior, and because you feel like I'm superior because of, oh, my hair doesn't look like that, or I don't talk like that, or and so that's also when you start having conversations. Like, I'm not going to bottle up and say, okay, well, no, first of all, I figure out another plan. I'm about to put you on blast. Okay. If it's hard conversation to have, then it needs to be had, because hard conversations need to start being had. And I believe that's what this generation coming up is doing. And I fucking love it. I love it. I love that they are splashing it in people's faces. Like, I'm not code switching no more. I don't want to code switch no more. I just want to be me. I'm happy with being me. Like, I definitely feel like, which brings it into what I want to ask next is, I definitely feel like it's a mental illness as well. Like, it causes mental issues to have to code switch in order to make a living, or to, get, where you want to go in life. Like, I don't want to have to wake up every day and be somebody else that I don't want to be. There's a difference between you growing as a person than you having to be somebody that you're not. There is a total difference. And so when we are able to see that difference, it causes mental health issues as well. Which, do y'all believe, that's what I was going to ask, do y'all believe that that is true? Like, that's a true statement that code switching can cause mental health illness?
It depends on the person, because at the end of the day, it, like, so for instance, I interviewed, I think he's from the Shy, and he goes by his full African name, right? And this is what he sits in, and he's happy, right? And it's the same thing. And I told him what my name was, and he's like, why don't you go by it? It's like, I'm just lazy, but I am happy with what I'm like, by what I'm being called. Also, I know where you are, like, as far as where you rank as far as friendship by what you call me. Like, if you call me a certain name from back in Canada, like, it's like, oh, I know you's the peoples. Or if you call me my full name, like, you's family. So for me, it's like, I could put people in categories. Like, you could just call a certain name from behind, like somewhere else down the street. I'm like, oh, like, I don't know you like that. Like, you know me from this name. So I think at the end of the day, if you are truly happy within, and you can wake up every day and say, all right, well, I like having straight hair, it's not a problem. And you don't feel like you're forced to do it. Like, one day you feel like going natural, it's not going to be an issue, and you don't feel those pressures like, oh, what are they going to think and all this other stuff, then that's fine. But if you feel like because there's always been a time where you can't get that appointment, that you can't get that weave appointment or whatever, and it's just like you in between hairstyles, and you're like, oh, can I just do a head wrap? Like, if you feel anxiety over that, yeah, no, don't do the bonnet. Like, I'm judging. Please don't do the bonnet to work. That's
y'all can do much. A bonnet. I give you permission. You can do a bonnet.
Don't do the bonnet. Don't do the bonnet.
You can do a bonnet.
Yeah. Well, we'll agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, if
you live your best life.
I know it's gonna give you anxiety because of that, then that's where you're like, I can't be at this job. But if you're like, no, I can rock my hair like this, or I can rock my hair like that, or I wear weaves 24/7, but today I'm doing short hair and you're not gonna feel a ways, then cool. But if you feel anxiety going to work, like you might have to call a day off because of your hair, then that's a problem.
Well, I don't even think it's a thing. Like, okay, for instance, when I worked in retail, there was a situation, and this happens a lot too. There was a situation where a girl was wearing an angel twist, and somebody white came up to her and was like, oh, a regular customer. Oh, you changed your hair. Oh, you look so different. That makes you feel some type of goddamn way. You like, okay, but did you point out when Susie wore an updo with 2 knots And
I
it's
think that's
blonde
just a
hair.
thing. Black women, since the day we were born, that's the shit that we have to deal with, and it sucks. People do it to little black girls. They do it like, God forbid, you have a long weave, and you have short bobs.
Is
Your
that
hair grew.
real?
Is it real? Your hair grew, and you have to say to them, "Would you ever question so and so?" No, you wouldn't. Or can I touch it? No, I'm not. I'm not an animal. Don't touch me. And it's unfortunate that like, because I see it happen to little black girls. Like it happened to me when I was a little black girl with my hair, and it sucks that like we are picked apart and no one else is. We're not the only race who wears extensions. We're not the only people who wear wigs, but for some reason people harass and bother us. Oh, your hair grew. How'd you get the braid in there? It's like, yo, leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone, fam.
Especially in this era where you can look it up.
Yeah,
I mean, what are you gonna say?
No, I'm gonna say, like, especially now today, where you have social media, you have the internet, you have people voicing and saying, Solange made a whole album, she made a song, said, "Don't touch my hair." Like, there's things now saying, like, hey, it grows out of our head like it grows out of yours. We don't question you, so why are you bothering us? We're not animals. And I just hate that like black people are treated this way. Like, but I think to answer your question, Monique, I think it can cause a form of PTSD where something may have happened to you in your past where you're just like, damn, you're still shook. Where like, again, I said the thing about the braids thing where a lot of my friends were like, oh girl, you got braids. And that's a form of PTSD where now you're shook because you think I'm going to get in trouble. And I had it for a long time where now I'm older where like, I used to do things like, if I was walking behind like a white woman, just because we're walking down the street, I would cross the street to make them feel comfortable. And then as I got older, I was like, wait, why am I doing that? That's unfair to me. Why do I have to cross the street or come walk a little bit faster than you so you can see it's me behind you? I shouldn't have to do that.
Would you really?
I used to do that where like, I'm noticing men do that with me now. Like if a man is behind me, which I think men should do that, do not walk behind a woman.
Yeah, don't walk behind me. As a man, because I get nervous, don't walk behind me.
But I used to do shit like that, like where when I was younger, I would be walking behind like white people, white women, and I would like to make them feel more comfortable. And it was a form of PTSD. I went to an all-white high school. I colored my hair red, and they told my mom that's not her natural color. That's not a natural color. And my mom was like, who the fuck are you to tell her what's a natural color, what's not? That shit stuck with me. Yes, I went to an all-white high school and I was a rebel. So I did some fuck shit. I colored it all red and I shaved half of it. Like, and it was picture day. And I, as a rebel, I was like, fuck you guys. And I had like blue hair, red hair, purple hair, pink hair. So like, that was like my answer to it. But as I got older, that shit that stuck with me. Like I would go into a workplace and be like, oh, I gotta make sure. I told you guys, I had a dope interview when I worked for E! News. Dope interview at E! News. My hand is newly tatted. I put makeup on my hand just because I was scared to be like, oh God, they see the tattoo on my hand. Yeah. The guy interviewing me is tatted, full sleeve. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I got a promotion at a job in New York I worked at. When they see me at the Brooklyn office, I used to have a big curly afro, and that motherfucker was blue and green. I get the promotion, and I'm promoted to the Manhattan office. I come in here, slick back, ponytail. My boss, you know what he said to me? He's like, girl, what happened to that big pink and green hair you used to have? He's like, wear your hair out. And it was an older white man telling me this. And I was like, oh, I can't? Like, and that sucks that black people, like we go through that and we have to go through that. But I think, like you ladies said, like, we have social media, we have therapy, we're talking to people, we're learning, and we're learning about how to love ourselves more, love our names. But like TK said, like if you're happy and that's what you want to do and you do it for you, not because of them, like now I wear my hair because I want to do it. I'll be like, you can call me Kiki because that's what I want you to, like, it's me. It has nothing to do with you anymore. Where when I was 15, 16, I was doing it for them. Where now I'm like, no, my Zoom calls, I'm always talking like this. They'll slack me. We love your nails. Thank you. Thank you so much. 16-year-old me, I would have been shook. Now my work calls, I have a new hair color, new hairstyle, a wig. I had a wig on and I could tell they were so uncomfortable. They were like, that girl definitely shaved her head. Like I can see that they were thinking it. Yeah. But I'm comfortable with myself, like TK said, and it's because I want to do it. So
yeah.
Well, speaking of being comfortable and also in love with yourself, LaWand is a woman-founded premium brand of personal vibrating massagers that bring unparalleled quality to a notoriously sketchy industry. And it was originated as one hell of a classic wand. So it's an award-winning design. So y'all know it's real. It's a real self-care. It's a real self-love. And you can be real comfortable in your own home. Okay. It's designed for pleasure and for your body. Luan embraces and champions intimacy for all with powerful, versatile pleasure tools that insist on bringing you to the next level. We're proud, they are proud to be the people's go-to orgasms that they can count on over and over again. Yes. So make sure y'all check them out at www.luanmassager.com, as you can you don't have to code switch in your own home.
Unless you want to.
That was a lie,
unless you want to play a different role. That's a different.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. You might want to code switch and play a different role with your
a little different, on your own terms.
On your own terms. So being on your own terms, I will say that I feel like code switching is something that we have done on a regular basis. And it's funny that you said that, Kiki, because I feel like we don't really get validated until it's like a white person telling us, like I literally am now how I am in business because rich white people were telling me, don't you be passive, because we're learned to be passive in business as well. Don't you be passive. You ask for what you want. You are the investment. These are not, you know what I'm saying? Like, they would literally put it in my head to go for it. Like, stop being like whatever you being, because that's not going to get you anywhere. Mm-hmm. And so, that was one thing that really brought out my business side, because we code switch in that too. We like want to build something and you're like, but I feel weird, because we're taught that. I feel weird with maybe asking for something that you need, or just saying something that you want, or like just being you. Like, oh, I want to walk into a meeting and I want to just say what I feel like saying with a neck roll and a hair roll, and have my hair in blue or red or bright orange, and still know that I can get the job done. And we have to take, we feel like we've always had to take that back and be like, oh no, I can't like do this, or I can't do that, or like, oh, I feel kind of like, oh, kind of like, oh, I won't get it if I'm just so like straightforward, or just like asking. And that was one thing that I will say, that one of my old bosses, he was a millionaire and I was his assistant. And that was one thing that he had said to me, is I was in a certain situation and I had told him, I was like, well, I can't, because I don't have this. And he was like, okay. And he sat up there and he wrote me a full check for what I needed. And he was like, first of all, before I hand you this check, you need to start asking for what you want. I don't care what it is. He was like, do you think I became a millionaire by sitting there trying to figure out what I wanted, or just not saying nothing? No, he said, you speak up and you ask for the things that you want. And I had a conversation with him too. I was like, well, being Black, sometimes it just feels. He was like, no, it doesn't matter. He was like, you're going to get 50 million no's before you get a yes. And sometimes you'll get a yes right away. Mm-hmm. But you don't stop yourself from being you and speaking up for what you want or what you deserve, unless, you know what I'm saying, it's harmful or something. But other than that, like, no. Like, a no ain't gonna kill you. He said a no. We used to be so honest with each other. He's like, a no ain't gonna kill your ass. A no is not going to kill you. He was like, I got plenty of no's, and it ain't never, I'm still here. And I was
sometimes
like,
it's beneficial too. That's
true.
The nose.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's protection, but it is to have those conversations, because code switching is like something we do in our everyday life, to the point where we have figured out, like, anytime that it comes to career or business, or anytime we put ourselves out there in a career-filled way or a professional setting, we have to look and be and act a certain way.
Yeah.
Right.
And
however, what are you gonna say?
Go ahead.
I said, however, the fun part about it is when you might be the only two Black people, or only two whatever in the room, and you could have a full-on conversation and people don't know what you're saying. My business partner, Anisha,
or I look.
We used to do that. all the time. People had no idea what we were saying, and it was completely entertaining. So that's the benefit of code switching as well, that, you know, folks have no idea that we might be talking about them. We're talking about a situation, and we're speaking English too. That's the fun part. That's the fun part. So
it is fun.
You know.
It is fun to have like your coworkers and you guys are the only two, only three, and you guys give a look and you're like, that's why I find the internet hilarious, because like Black Twitter will do a thing where like there's memes now where Black people, even TikTok, if you have a TikTok, somebody will say something crazy or racist on TikTok, and now it's like 20 Black people kind of giving a look like,
Black Twitter is crazy. Okay.
Hilarious. Mm-hmm. But it's true. Like we connect with each other and we're like, we can have our own type of conversation. And they're always like, what are you guys talking about? It's like, we're just doing our thing.
Right.
So I love that.
That's why Black Twitter is so good, because it's like we can really speak our own language and nobody will understand. They'll be like, well, what is Black Twitter talking about?
Jokes,
you're like,
memes. That's why I say Black people, doesn't matter what type of Black we are, American, West Indian, Afro-Latina, Black Indian, Black, like Black Asian, sorry, not Black Indian, Black Middle Eastern. We, for some reason, Black people, we just connect. Like we'll put a meme and everyone, for some reason, we all grew up weirdly the same way. We all have something in common. So that's why I think Black Twitter kind of brings us all together, though we're all so different.
Yeah.
And the jokes. And that's why I say today we have a community. We have the internet where now people are talking about code switching. You have therapy, you have memes, you have TV shows, music, podcasts. So I think shout out to like 2021.
Yeah. Shout out to, you know, I feel like the generation before us, which is X-Geners, I feel like I would say
people forget about Generation X. I feel so bad for them.
Generation X kind of gets missed because they're quiet. They mind their own business. They stay in their damn lane, okay? But the baby boomers, they can't stand us millennials. But I feel like millennials are like, okay, Y and Z or whatever. There's sometimes you feel like, no, there are sometimes where you're like, what are you doing? But I will say that they are a generation that is more rebellious to the social norms.
Well, you know what that is? That's
when it comes to our community.
Well, think about it. It's every generation. There's always a generation where the generation before you, they do not understand what the fuck you're doing or what you're talking about. Baby boomers, the people before them were like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Because remember, boomers grew up in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So people from the 20s and 30s were like, they're on acid, they're tripping, they're loving each other, they're burning their bras, they're saying they're saying yes to abortions. Literally, like my great grandmother, her kids were baby boomers. So like my aunts and uncles lived their best lives. Like, you know what I'm saying? And my great grandmother would tell me how rebellious they were in the 60s and the 50s, and they were just open. Then millennials came, then you grow up, and you have a different perspective, and then millennials are born. You're like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, these kids are spoiled because the Gen X and the boomers, Gen X comes, Gen X kind of minds their business. The millennials come, and the next generation, you want the generation after you to be a little bit better. So, you know, you spoil them a little bit, and then you're like, what the fuck are they on? Then the internet's here, and then it's computers, and then millennials, they look at us as like the spoiled babies. And then that's why I think like every generation, like, yeah, they're rebellious, but so were boomers in the 60s and the 50s. They were out here getting their ass beat and fighting for causes. So yeah, to them, we might look a little weird because they're older now. So they've gotten older and they're like, we're tired. Y'all a little crazy. Y'all doing too much. Where now I look at the new generation and I'm like, y'all eating Tide Pods. What's wrong? What's wrong
with y'all? Yeah.
What's wrong with y'all? And the generation after
them,
the generation after them, they're gonna be like, what's so I just think, yes, they do have this moment right now in 2021 where the people before them, they're on their shoulders. So they're able to do a lot of things because of the people before them. So yes, they're able to speak up and say, fuck y'all, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. Because there were people before them in the 70s and the 60s getting their ass beat, fighting for them to be able to do what they want to do.
Right. Now, I mean, I do get that. But I do feel like there are some things that we are still set in that our parents had, that their grandparents had. Yeah. And I feel like the generation now, when I look at like my little cousins and them, they don't do none of that. They're like,
they don't care. A lot of them don't care. And they don't care. I love that about them. A lot of them are just like, fuck off. I don't give a fuck. Where I'm like my little cousins will do something. I'm like, oh, I got my ass beat for that attitude. And they're, mind you, only like, few years younger than me. And I'm like, I'll look at my aunt and be like, so y'all not gonna handle that? Because if that was me. And it's everything's a learning experience. And I think the generations, they learned, oh, I did this with my millennial kid. I don't want to do this with my Gen Z kid.
Right.
So things are different. So millennials, my Gen X mom was raised a certain way. So she and my great grandmother raised her kids, her grandkids, and then me. By the time it came to me, I was spoiled because she didn't want to do it how she did it in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. So it's every generation, is different.
Right. I mean, that's true. I just feel like with this, the generation behind millennials is phasing out code switching due to the fact that they don't give a fuck. Like, I don't really care. Like, I don't care if I show up, and they're applauding people like Sha'Carri. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're applauding people like her because of the long nails. And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna wear my hair however I feel like it. If I want to put on a wig, I'm gonna put on a wig. If I want weave, I'm gonna put on weave. If I don't have to. It don't matter. I want to look good as I run, and that's what I'm going to do. Like, and so yes, you do have the Flojos and stuff like that, but there was still kind of that, even with Flojo, there was still kind of that in a box. Like,
damn, I had a Flojo Barbie doll, and that was like, and I hope that they make Sha'Carri Barbie dolls. Because
they will.
The orange hair.
Oh my God, in different color wigs. Because I had a Flojo Barbie doll in the 90s, and you couldn't tell me when I seen her nails that she wasn't the baddest woman on this planet. Mm-hmm. And I think like representation is just so important. So I'm just so happy to see a Sha'Carri be like, my name is Sha'Carri. I have purple hair, blue hair. I just can't wait for them to make Barbie dolls of this girl.
Right.
So people can see I'm confident and I'm not going to switch because it makes you uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right? And being the starting blocks with those long ass nails.
Oh, yes.
Easy. Like, so she deserves an extra prize for that. That's a whole situation. Trust.
Well, I do have one last question before we wrap up this episode. Do you guys code switch when it comes to dating?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because like I said, at the end of the day, well, when I'm tipsy, then that's a whole another situation. I don't get tipsy around many people anyway. But I find that especially, because it's different, because I'm born in Canada with a West Indian background. So for me to talk how I talk amongst my friends, and now you're not going to understand me, again, it's more of a laziness on my part. I really don't want to have to break down a whole conversation. So when I'm in right mind and there's no alcohol involved, I'm very particular in speaking more American language to somebody who is American. Now, mind you, if somebody's from the East Coast, like they're from New York and they're very familiar with West Indian culture, then you're gonna get the full. We're gonna go back and forth. But if you're like from out here, you're gonna get the American version of TK, because I just don't want. It's way more laziness on my part. I really don't want to have to go into a whole conversation explaining certain sentences that I say and all this other stuff unless it slips out. So for me, dating wise, it's code switching. However, as we date more, like I always appreciate somebody who wants to know more about my culture, and vice versa. So as we date more, then I don't mind kind of teaching you and having those conversations. But the initial date, I'm tired. We on this date. Let's just have this conversation. Let me see if you're worthy of like hearing the fullness of me.
Yes, so my code switching, I used to not so much personality switch. I used to do this thing where I still kind of do it. So you guys know me, people to this podcast. I'm a really silly girl. I'm goofy. I am weird. I am crazy. But I would do this thing where you wouldn't get that at first. I would do this. And I seen a meme when it's like, damn, it sucks when you start dating someone, you have to pretend to be normal. I'm like, yo, that's me. I have to fucking pretend to be normal. And then you get the real me. So it's not like I was being fake. I just wouldn't give you, like I'd give you my goofy side, but you wouldn't get it all. I used to do that a lot. And then you get to know me, you're like, wow, you're really fucking crazy and goofy and funny. And I'm like, yeah, this is who I normally am. This is the type of things that I like. This is who I am. So that's something that I used to do, and I'm working on that. And same thing where I'm a tom girl. I don't really say tomboy anymore, where, 80% of me, I dress in men's clothing. And I used to do this thing where I dress in women's clothing too. Like I like both. But I like baggy clothes a little bit more. But I used to do this thing where I would switch it up just a little bit, just so I could be like, oh, so a guy can like me and he can see how feminine I am. And I'm like, then I got older and I was like, it's nothing to do with what I look like. It's all about my energy. If I'm giving off feminine energy and certain things that I do. But I used to do stuff like that. I still have the long nails and my hair, but I remember one day, me and this guy literally had the same fucking outfit on from Urban Outfitters because I shop in the men's department. And this guy was like,
make you a tomboy. That's just you like unisex clothing.
I like, but growing up, that's all for me growing up, Alia, TLC, like those were the people that I looked up to. And I called it tomboyish because I would wear like the double XL Jabot jeans. Like I was just super tomboyish, but I was still feminine because like I had my long nails.
Well, as a former stylist, we don't call that a tomboy look. We just call that you like sex.
I do, but back in the 90s and the 2000s, it was called being a tomboy. So that's why I don't say tomboy.
We changing it now.
I say tom girl. But I used to do that where like I would kind of switch my style. Then I was like, wait, there's guys that actually like my style. Like, so that's why I loved seeing Pharrell and his wife because I was like, yo, that's literally how I dress. Him and his wife was literally like what was a goal for me because I was like, that's the type of guy that I like. And I was like, I know there's guys that like women like me. So that's something that I've been working on and trying to like just be true to yourself. The right guy will like you for who you are.
We'll have to find you a name for a signature name for your style because
I say tom girl. I like tom girl. I like tom girl.
I wear clothes from my best friend all the time, and he's a guy, and I wear stuff from his closet all the time.
I think it's not just about the clothes; it's about the energy. I had tomboy energy, like where I used to work at a men's clothing store when I was 16. It was called Hip Zep Me in Boston. I would have on the big ass Jabot sweater, the backwards cap. Like that was me 90% of the time. Monique, 100% of the time, you were very feminine. There's nothing.
Oh, me?
Yes, you're feminine. You give off feminine energy, which is
I do now, but I used to play basketball and I used to play basketball with the guys. Like I never wore dresses or skirts. I literally wore suits for game days. Like I really think that my mom and them think that I was always a lesbian.
Well, same with my family, but I call my style tom girl. I don't say tomboy because whatever.
Yeah, that's cute.
I say tom girl because 85% of the time I dress like a boy and like 15% I sometimes like to wear sexy shirts. You know what I'm saying? But then you'll see me with the full fitted cap, the sneakers, the baggy clothes, and I love that. That makes me feel comfortable. But like me a long time ago, I used to try to switch that because I felt like, oh, guys are not gonna like that because I'm dressing like them. I would do.
Well, what would you wear then to like a date if you switched it up? Like, I want to know that.
Yo, I used to.
What would you wear?
Okay, so funny. Ex of mine I was in Miami when I met him. I was in my early 20s, but out there I was super girly. I didn't fucking dress like that, and I did that because we were on a trip, and I wanted to be like, let me tap into my girly side. So he met me looking like that. We started dating, and I was like, we went on our first date, and I was so fucking girled up. But I was like, I gotta be honest with you. I dress like this, but like 10% of the time.
Like, was it a dress or a skirt or?
It was a cute skirt with a really cute, like, I was smaller then. I've always been big, but I was smaller with this cute, like, crop top. I had on these fucking wedges. I do not dress like that. And I was like, I need to show you how I really dress. And he's seen how I really dress. And he was like, yo, that's fly. Like, now the girls that he dates really feminine, girly girls. So it was something different for him where there would be times I'd be girled up, but 90% of the time I was a tomboy, but I was still feminine, I guess. So to him, he liked it. But again, as I'm older, I don't do that anymore. I used to do it. Now I'm just like, you like me for who I am. This is how I dress. This is my style. I call it tom girl. If you don't like it, sorry.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if I ever code switch. I feel like I calmed down. Like I used to go on dates and just be like, I remember I went on this one day. I can't even remember his name. And I was so like bored by him. He was really nice guy. And I was so bored by him that I was on the phone arguing with somebody else. And he was just like, you know what? I'm ready to end the date because you're not even into it. And so I was like, well, I'm really sorry, but maybe this is just not a connection. I don't think that I've ever been the type to kind of like code switch for a guy. I've always been kind of guarded, and I think that's like pulling back a little bit. Like when I go out, I'm just like, you know what? Be who you are. Let people see who you are. So I used to be a little more guarded, but I don't think I've ever like code switched on a date. If anything, I wanted you to see exactly who I was, because if you actually love me or you actually like want to date me, you're going to date who I am on an everyday basis. So we won't have to have those kind of communication issues. You already accept who I am right now and growing to be. But I never really wanted to date somebody who felt like even now, anytime if a guy says something, I always think that is such a red flag. Like, I had a homegirl and I had a friend and she like, we were all out and the guy that she was seeing was like, why don't you have any earrings? Like you should wear earrings that makes like, and I was just kind of like, like things like that. I feel like are such red flags because you're already trying to change me into somebody that I may not be. And if you're trying to change me, and little small stuff like that, that shit gets bigger as we go on. And if I make the change now instead of having the conversation with you on how it makes me feel, then it's probably going to grow. So I feel like I'm not as guarded as of recently. I'm not as guarded as I used to be, but I would feel like if I code switched in any way, that would be it. It would just be like this big wall that was just like, get through this. And if you can get through this, we might work out like type situation. But now I'm feeling a little more like, okay, I'm just going to be open. Like we can be cool. We can, but if I feel little things like, little stuff like you don't really know who I am or you're trying to change who I am as a person just by little stuff like outfits and things like that, then you don't really want to be with me. You don't want to be with me.
I do think it's different if somebody tells you than you doing it yourself, because like no one's ever told me how to change. It's something that I did that I had to work on myself. I had to realize like, girl, you don't got to switch up shit for nobody.
Yeah. I mean, they can foster that in you. They can foster growth within you if they're that type of person. Like, okay, you have a situation, like I was seeing some guy and he was like, oh, you want to come out tonight? And I was like, oh, I look a mess. See, I tell my best friend the same thing. My best friend knows what that means. Because I got on the phone and I was like, I told the guy that I was seeing, I was like, I told him I looked a mess. He was like, but you mean you got on tennis shoes? And I said, how you know my life? Mm-hmm. Because that was real. It was like me saying, oh, I look a mess because I just had on like leggings and sneakers, but all black outfit. And I didn't have on no makeup or nothing. This guy was like, oh, well, you need, like, he didn't even ask, like, oh, well, what are you even wearing? And we had just started kind of like seeing each other. He was like, oh, well, you need to look the night I met you if you're going to be coming out. And I was like, we don't, like, you've lost your mind.
Blocked.
And so, at that point, I'm like, oh, these things would become a bigger issue. And I don't, he was younger, so I had a conversation with him, but I was like, this is not how I work, and this is not how it's going to work. So at the end of the day, that chopped it up to what it was. But I feel like I don't want to code switch. I actually think that I do it on dates just to know that this person actually wants to be with who I am at the moment, because we're always growing and progressing, but at the moment, is this the person who wants to accept me for who I am? Because I don't want to start living together and then you like, oh, well, you didn't do that. And I'm like, because I code switched, you didn't see that. But, so that's how I kind of feel about it. was like a long answer, but this wraps up this episode of Code Switching. I'm glad that we got into this discussion because this was definitely something that I got to talk about on one of the red carpets that I did with like Michael B. Jordan and all of them. And I thought it was dope, like to see their answers and how they felt about it. So I felt like this was something that the queens really needed to discuss. So ladies, let our queen family know where they can find you.
You guys can not slide into my DMs. You guys, I'm so used to saying that on every episode. You guys can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
Slide into the DMs.
I'm so used to saying that.
You guys can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Also, if you want cocoa butter needs, candles, massage candles, really popular. You guys can go to centerin.co.
And you can find me at It's Monique Loveless, and make sure you check out my website at moniqueloveless.com, as I am helping people to have a growth mindset and mindfulness with techniques, tips, and tricks, and other things coming. Also, make sure you check out our website at blackqueensuncut.com and on all social media platforms at Queens Uncut. Our YouTube channel is Black Queens Uncut. And make sure you listen and get your notifications on, because we drop a new episode every Wednesday. And catch up on our other episodes. We have season 2 and we have season 1, and we have all the episodes in season 3 that we just started. So make sure you catch up, and we will catch you later. Queendom family, love you. Bye.
Ciao.